To click the red subscribe button and also click the notification bell, because I'll be uploading more questions and I would like you to follow me as I go over those questions. Now, question number 1. When talking about this very question, you would see that what there are a lot of mixed fractions there. We have 1 here, we have 1 here, and we have this. So the first thing we are going to do is to do what? To change these mixed fractions into what? Improper fraction. So that's what we are going to do right now. Changing it, you will realize that what this is 2, this is 2, and this is 4. So just multiply this 2 by 4, you will get 8. Add it, that's 9. So that's how I got 9/4 here. And changing this also, you will see that what? Multiply this 3 and 1 here, you would get what? You would get 3. So 3 plus 2 would give you 5. That's how I got this very 5/3 here. And not what? Into bracket. So now multiply it by what? This very 1 on number 5/7. You know, if you multiply 1 by 7, it will give you 7. So add 7 to 5, it will give what? 12. That's how I got this very question. The next thing now is to use BODMAS. That's brackets before of, and before division, before multiplication, before addition, and before what? Before subtraction. So if you use BODMAS, you know that what? We are going to solve these very brackets first before we solve any other thing. So that's what I did here. I did what? I solved these very brackets. I looked for the LCM of what? 9/4 minus 5/3. The LCM is what? The LCM of these 4 and 3 would give me what? Would give me 12. So getting this very 12 would help me to solve this a lot. I'll just use what? This 12 divided by 4 would give me what? Would give me 3. So 3 times 9 would give me what? 27. That's how I got this 27. And what? Because of this minus, I would also put it here, and I will do what? I will divide this very 3. I will divide it. I will use 3 to divide 12. So that's what? 12 divided by 3 would give me 4. So 4 times 5 would give me what? 4 times 5 would give me 20. So that's how I got this 20 as well. So if I subtract it, I would get what? I would get 7/12. But for now, let's just leave it like that and what? And put what? And multiply it by 12/7. This is the 7/12 we got the other time. So that's it. What? We multiply it by 12/7, and that would give us 1. So the answer here now is what? Is 1. If you try it, you would do this 7 would divide 7, and what? And 12 also would divide 12. That would give me 1. So that's what? 1/1. 1/1. 1/1 would also give me 1. So the answer is what? The answer is A. Question number 2. If we are to express this 0.00706 in standard form, the first thing we are going to know is that what? Standard form involves 2 products. That's what? The first product will be between 1 and 9, just like you've seen here. 1 and 9. You see, this very 7.06 is between 1 and 9. And if you talk about the second product here, you will see that what? The second product is a what? Is a power of 10. It is what? 10 raised to power something. 10 raised to power something. That's 10 raised to power 3. It could be 10 raised to power 4, 10 raised to power 5, but this one is 10 raised to power minus 3. So now let's solve this question so that you understand it very well. You've seen this one is 0.00706. So the first thing we are going to do is to what? Is to take this point from this very place to what? To this very place. So we'll count the number of places. 1, 2, 3. So that's what? That's 3, right? So that's what? If you should put our dot here, that means it is what? 7.06. So if you now multiply it, you would get what? 10 raised to power. We got 3 here, right? How we are going to know if it is minus 3 is that what? If you are shifting, like if you are counting this thing towards the right, it is what? It is minus. If you are counting this thing towards the left, it is what? It is plus. That you should understand it right now. So because we are counting it towards the right, it is what? It is minus 3. But if we are counting it towards the left, it is what? Plus 3. So the answer here right now is what? 7.06 times 10 raised to power minus 3. So the answer here complies with this is what? Is E. Question number 3. We are asked to find the square root of 6/1/4. You know, it is what? It is in mixed form. So the first thing we are going to do is to do what? Is to change this mixed fraction into what? Improper fraction. That's what? 6 multiplied by 4 would give us what? Would give us 24. 6 times 4 will give us 24. So 24 plus 1, that will give us 25. So that's what 25 over 4. 25 over 4. So after you've gotten 25 over 4, the next thing is to what? Is to look for the square root. The root what? Square root here. So the square root of 25 over 4 would also be the same thing as what? The square root of 25 over square root of 24. So solving this square root of 25 over square root of 24 would give you what? It would give you 5 over 2. That's telling you that if you multiply 5 over 2 by itself, it would give you what? 25 over 4. So that's how I got what? My answer as E. And you can get this with just punching your calculator and all that. But it is good for you to know what? To know the root of all these things. Question number 4. The first thing we are going to talk about here is to what? Is for us to write out the factors of 1 over 44. The question is express 144 as the product of its prime factors. So right now, you would look for the factors. If you look for the factors of 144, you would get 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, and the likes towards 144. The next thing now is for us to take the prime factors that are in these factors. So how can we know that this very factor is a prime factor? When we're talking about a prime number it has only two factors. That's what? 1 and itself. Even 1 is not a prime factor, it's not a prime number at all. But what? It would have 1 and itself, because 1 has only 1. You understand? It has only itself. So you can't use 1 as a prime number. So get this now, 1 is not a prime number. So talking about the prime factors that are in these very factors of 144, you would get that what? We have 2 and 3. All other factors are not a prime factors. Do you understand? They are not a prime factors. We only have 2 and 3 as a prime factor. So the next thing now is to do what? Is to look at how we can carve things out to get what? To get 144 from these prime factors. Now to proceed, you have only 2 and 3 as the prime factor. So the next thing I will try to do now is to do what? To look at how 2 and 3 would give me 144. So that's how I did this, and it's what? If you multiply 2 in 4 places and multiply 3 also in 2 places, you will get back 144. With the development, you can just write 2 number 2 raised to power 4 times 3 raised to power 2. As I got this answer, and if you check the very question here, the answer is what? Is B. That's 2 number 2 raised to power 4 times 3 raised to power 2. Please try to get all these things. They are not hard at all. So as time goes, we would know more about these very questions, and you will know that they are not hard. So you just need to do what? You just need to put in your very best. And if you've not clicked the subscribe button, click the red subscribe button and also click the notification bell, because I'll be uploading more questions and I know you will benefit greatly from it. Now, the next question is what? Find the LCM of 96 and 144. So if you want to get this very quick answer, the next thing you need to draw a table. So this is the table I have drawn. You need to draw a table. So after you've done that very table, you write 96 here and you write 144. So just divide it. You start by 2. If 2 goes, that means what? You start with 2, and if it doesn't go, you would pick another number. So now, starting mine with 2, you see that what? If I divide 2 by 96, it will give me what? 48. If I divide 2 also by 144, it will give me what? 72. I won't stop like that. I must get what? 1, 1. I must divide it to the extent that I will not be able to divide it again. That's what? I will get 1. That's what? If I divide this 48 by 2 again, by this very 2 again, I would get what? 24. I will get 36. So after I've done that, the next thing I will do is to do what? Is to look for the factors that can go again. If I divide 2 again, it will go. So if I divide 2 by this 24, it will give me 12. And if I divide this 2 by what? By 36, it will give me 18. So I won't leave it like that, because I know that what? I've not gotten 1 as my answer. So the next thing I will do now is to what? Is to divide this very 2 again by what? By this 12, it will give me 6. And if I divide this very what? If I divide this very 2 by 18, it will give me what? It will give me 9. So I will not stop there. I would what? I will divide this very 2 also by what? By this very number, because I know 2 can still go. So if I divide this 2 by 6, it will give me what? It will give me 3. If I divide this same 2 by 9, it will give me what? It will give me 9. Because 2 can't go in 9. So I will leave it like that. I will not what? I will not divide it at all. So the next thing I can use right now, after I've used 2, the next thing I will use what is 3. If I see that 3 will not go, I will use 4. So now the next thing was is to use 3. So 3 here, if I divide the 3 by 3, it will give me what? It will give me 1. And if I divide this 3 by 9, it will give what? It will give me 3. So that's I've gotten this 1 and 3. But the thing now is that what 96 has already given me what 1. But this 144 hasn't given me 1. So the next thing I will do is to divide it by 3 again. So if I divide it by 3 again, it will give me what? It will give me 1. So I've gotten 1 and I've gotten 1. That's the end. So the next thing now is what is for me to write out what I've used and what I used all through to divide this very number. So that's what I used 2, 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 I used 3, I used 3. So if I multiply these numbers together, I would get 288. Just try to multiply it, you get 288. So that's the LCM of 96 and what 144. So our answer here is what is E, 288. Question number 6. What is the HCF of 105, 135 and 180? So if you want to look for this very answer, the next thing you will do is to look for the factors of this very 105, 103 and 180. After this, you would need to what? You need to look for the highest common factor within these very factors. So just like this example, my own factors here, I got 1, 3, 5, 15, 21, 35 and 105 are the factors of what? 105. And when I was searching for this also, 135, the factors are what? 135, yes, 9, 15 and all that. But if you are trying to look for the highest common factor of 105 and 35, that means what? It will be 15, because looking at this, the highest factor that is common to these very two numbers, the highest factor is what? It's 15. But if you should look at this 180 and we can't find 15, that means what? That means it can't be the answer because it's not the highest factor common to the three of them. But if you look at this 180, you will see that 15 is there. So that's telling you that what? 15 is the highest common factor. Just check it. 15 is the highest common factor of this what? Of this 105, 1035 and what? 135 and 180. So the answer here is what? Is A, is B, simply B. That's what? 15. Number 7. What is the difference between the LCM and HCF of 24, 36 and what? 40? For us to solve this question, we need to look for the LCM, that's the lowest common multiple, and what? HCF, we need to look for the HCF and the LCM, and what? We would look for the difference. That's what we would subtract them from each other to give us the final answer. So let's start. Starting with the LCM. So yeah, would use let's start from dividing it by 2. So dividing all through by 2 would give us what? Would give us dividing this by 2 would give us what? Would give us 12. If you divide 24 by 2, you get 12. Divide 36 by 2, you would get 18. 40 by 2, you would get 20. So now the next thing is for us to use another number that we know that it goes within all these very number. So if you use these two here, you would get 6, you would get 9. If you use it for 18, if you divide these two by 20, you would get 10 as well. So the next thing now is that what? We should divide it until we get 1, 1, 1, 1, just like we did the other one the other time. So divide this this 6 by 2 again would give us what? Would give us 3. It would give us what? It would give us, if you divide 2 by 9, if you divide 9 by 2, this very 9, it can't be divided by 2. So you would get it won't go. So the very best thing you should do here is to do what? Is to leave it. So you would leave it here and what? Divide 2 by 10, you would get 5. So the next thing now is the what? Is for us to look for the factors that the nearest factor, because if you try to use 2, it can't go. But if you shift this 2 to 3, it would go. So let's use 3 here now. 3 here would give you 1. So that means 3 can't go again. We've already gotten 3 to be 1. Divide this 3 by 9, would get 3. Divide this 3 by 5, it can't go. So we'll leave it like that and what? We'll use another factor. Now if we try 5, 5 would go. So if you divide 5 by this 5, you would get 1. So that's telling you that what? You've gotten the answer already, because you must get this 1, 1, 1 at the base of all the numbers. So after you've gotten 111, the LCM now is what? Is to multiply these factors. These 2 times 2 times 2 times 3 times 3 times 5. You will multiply it together to get what? The lowest common multiple. So the LCM is what? 360. Now talking about the highest common factor, we need to do what? We need to look for the factors. So 24, looking for the factor, you will get 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8 to 24. You've seen it here. So if you look for the factors of 36 also, you will get what? 1, 2, 3 and thereabouts. If you look for the factors of 40 also, you will get this. So the next thing for us now is to do what? Is to look for the factor that was that is common to all these very numbers, and what? It is the highest. The highest kind of factor you can get that is common to these very numbers. So if you look for if you look for the highest, you will see that what? Actually, you can see that what they both, you would see 1 here is true, but it's not the highest. You can you can still see 2, so it's not the highest. You can see 4 as well. But if you look from that 4, if you want to check it, maybe you will see another one. You can't see another one again. So that means the highest common factor of these very numbers is what? Is 4. So you just write the HCF is what? Is 4. So now let's use, we've gotten our LCM and HCF. So the next thing for us to do now is to do what? Is to look for the difference between the two numbers. So the other time when we were doing it, we got our LCM to be 360 and what? HCF to be what? 4. So if you subtract it, you would get what? 356. So our answer is what? Our answer is D. Question number 8. Convert 1112 to denary to denary. So we have the options. I don't need to read that. So talking about denary, when you're talking about denary is called decimal. You can also call this denary what? You can also call it number in base 10. That's base 10. I tell you, we have binary, which is base 2, but denary is what? Base 10. So note that. So after you've known that, the next thing for you to do is to simplify this, because this very question given to us is in base 2. You see, it is base 2. So the first thing you are going to do is to separate this 1. So use this 1, multiply it by this very 2. You will leave it plus you do what? You will use the second one here again as well. You multiply it by 2, you will leave it. So multiply this one again by 2, you will leave it. Multiply this one again by 2, you will leave it. So after that, the next thing is for you to now use power. That's when you'll be adding power. You start from the back. You start from the last number here, and what? The last group here, and the very thing you will do here is to what? Is to add 0. You add 0 to the 2, you add 1 to this very 2, you add 1 to you add 2 here, and you will add 3. So after you've added that, the next thing for you to do is to simplify it. So the simplification is what? 2 raised to power 3. What is 2 raised to power 3? When you're talking about 2 raised to power 3, that's 2 times 2 times 2. That's 8. So 8 times 1 will give you what? Would give you 8. So that's how I got this. We're talking about 1 times 2 raised to power 2. That's what? 2 times 2. 2 times 2 will give you 4. So 4 times 1 would give you what? Would give you 4 as well. That's how I got this 4 as well. So when I'm talking about 1 times 2 raised to power 1, that's what? 2 raised to power 1. That's just 2. Because even if there's no power or on this very 2, it still means 2 raised to power 1. So note that. So our answer here is what? Is 2, because if you multiply 2 and 1, you would get what? You would get 2. So the next one we will solve now is what? Is 1 times 2 raised to power 0. I'm talking about 2 raised to power 0. Anything raised to power 0, get it now. It's equals to 1. So 1 times 1 would give you what? Would give you 1. Don't forget, anything raised to power 0 would give you what? Would give you 1. So that's how I got this 1 here. So adding them together, 8 plus 4 would give me 12. 12 plus 2 would give me 14. 14 plus 1 would give me what? Would give me 15 as well. So the answer here is what? Is A, 15. So question number 9. Convert 36 in base 7 to what? Base 5. So when you're talking about this, the first thing you are going to do is to do what? Is to convert it to base 10. So after you've converted it to base 10, you will now convert it to what? To base 5. So that's what we are going to do right now. Converting this 36 in base 7 to base 10, that's what? We would first take this very 3. So after taking it, we would multiply it by this 7. We multiply it by 7. So that's it here. This 6 also would multiply it by 7. That's it here. So the next thing we are going to do is to what? Is to add 0 from the last group. This is what you add the power from the last group. This is the last group here. So the power is what? And you would add it. Don't forget, you will add it to the base, to 7. So if you add it, you will start from 0. So that's what? This is 7 raised to power 0. So you'd go to the next one. This is what? 7 raised to power 1. So if there is still another group again, you will say 7 raised to power 2 and the likes. So after that, the next thing for you to do is to do what? Is to multiply it. I told you before that 7 raised to power 1 is still the same thing as 7. Even if you've written 7, it still means what? It means 7 raised to power 1. So note that. So 3 times 7 will give you 21, plus 6 times 7 raised to power 0. I told you the other time that anything raised to power 0 would give you what? Would give you 0. Would give you 1. I'm sorry. Anything raised to power 0 would give you what? Would give you 1. So after you've gotten your answer to be 1, the next thing for you to know now is that what? 6 times 1 would give you what? Would give you 6. Sure. So the next thing now is what? To add it together, and you will get your answer as what? You will get your answer as 27 in base 10. That's our denary number. After we solved this, the next thing is to convert this very one in base 10 to the final base, which was base 5. So the next thing now is what? Is for us to divide it. If you want to convert anything from what? Base 5 to any base from base 10, you will divide that very number. So if you divide 27 by 5, that's what we are going to do here. You divide 27 by 5, you will get what? You will get 5, and it will remain what? It will remain 2. So you write 2 here. So the next one now is to what? So divide it by 5 again. You divide it by this very 5. We are converting it back to. I didn't say this because we are converting it back to base 5. We are going to divide it with 5. If you are converting it to base 7, you are going to divide it by 7. If you are converting it to base 8, you are going to divide it by 8. Do you understand? So the very thing you are going to do now is to what? So divide it by 5 again. You get what? You get 1 as your answer, right? After you've gotten 1 as your answer, what remains? Because it is 5, it would go without any remainder. So you write what? You write 0. So after you've written this, the next thing is to divide this 1. If you divide 1 by 5, you would get what? You wouldn't get 1, you would get 0 point something. So that means 5 can't go in 1. So you write 0. So the remainder now is what? Is 1. So that's the very thing you are going to write here. After you've done this, you will know that our answer is what? Our answer is 102. 102 in base 5. How? If you want to know our answer, you would start it from what? From the base of this very remainder. That's what? 102. That's it. And that's all. You've gotten your answer. The answer is what? D. Question number 10. Correct 6.9169 to 3 significant figures. So solving this is very simple. You just need to do what? You just need to round it off. So this very thing that is given unto you, if you check it, it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it is what? This is 5 significant figure already. So you just need to what? Change it to 3 significant figures. So if you want to change it to 3 significant figures, the next thing you do is to do what? Is to count 3. That's what? 1, 2, 3. So if you look at this very number that is next to it, it is more than 4. If it is 4, you wouldn't round it up. But if it is more than 4, if it is 5, if it is 6, if it is 7, if it is 8, that's when what? You would round it off. You would round this very one off to what? To 2. So that's when it will give you what? 6.92. But if you are given something like 9.915, no, 9.913, it is less than 4. It is not more than 4. If it is more than 4, that's when you will round the next number up. But if it is not more than 4, you would what? You would leave it as it looks. So our answer here is what? Is 6.91. So calculate the simple interest on 650,000 for 2 years of 6% per annum. So what you are going to do here is what? Is to look for the simple interest. And the formula for interest is what? Is PRT over what? Over 100. That's principal times rate times time. So the principal here is what? Is what? 650. And what? The rate of this very interest is what? Is 6%. And what? The time is what? Is just 2 years. You see it here, 2 years. So multiply it together, you will get what? That's 650 multiplied by 6 and 2 would give you what? You would divide it by 100. So after you've divided it, you would get what? You can just cut it here, you can cut it here, you can cut this here, you get 6.5 times 6 times 2. That would give us 6.5 times 6 times 2. So after you've gotten that, the next thing is what? If you multiply it, and you would get what? 78 naira. So D is the what? Is the answer. Find the reciprocal of 0.65 to 3 significant figures. Now talking about the reciprocal of 0.65. Okay, let me just say it like this. We're talking about the reciprocal. Reciprocal is what? When we're talking about reciprocal, 1 over 2. I'm talking about reciprocal. This 1 over 2 will turn to what? 2 over 1. That's the reciprocal of what? Of 1 over 2. You will flip 2. You will bring 2 up, and you will take 1 down. That's how I got this 2 over 1. So our final answer will be what? Will be 2. Now I'm talking about the reciprocal of 3 over 5. 3 over 5. The reciprocal of 3 over 5 is what? Is 5 over 3. You would flip this 3. You would take 3 down, and you would bring 5 up. So that will give what? 5 over 3. You can now say that what? This 5 over 3 is one whole number, 2 over 3. That's mixed fraction. But you would flip it. That's just what I would like you to understand with the reciprocal, anything called reciprocal. To solve this adequately, we need to convert 0.65, that's decimal, to do what? To fraction. So converting it to fraction, it is what? It is 65 over 100. That's, you will what? You will take this very point out twice. If you try it, you're taking these very dots out, another out. So that's what? That's telling you that what? This curve is what? It can contain only 2 zeros. So that means 65 over what? Over 100. So that's how I got this what? This very 65 over 100. So after that, the next thing now for you to do is to what? Is to flip it. I told you that reciprocal, you will flip it. So 100 over 65. And if you punch your calculator for 100 over 65, you get what? You get 1.54. So if you're in the exam hall and you want to just do this reciprocal very fast, the very thing you need to do here is for you to do what? Is to do 1 over 0.65. Just type 1 divided by what? 0.65. You will get your reciprocal. That's just it. Question number 13. Subtract 112 from 111 in base 2 from 1110 in base 2. So what you would do right now, you can do it like you can use 2 methods, but I would advise you not to use the second method because it will waste your time. You first convert it to base 10. Now from that base 10, you will now convert it back to what? Base 2. To waste your time. You can just, because it is in the same base, you can just subtract it. So that's what we are going to do right here now. So now let's subtract it. So subtracting this very number, the highest number you can have here, not around this answer, but here is what is 2, because it is your number in base 2. So it's just like 10 in base 10. Looking at this very thing, this is 0, right? That means you can't get something from, you can't subtract 1 from 0. No. So you have to borrow. If you borrow this 1, it will give you what? If you borrow 1 here, get to this place, it will turn to 2. So that's how it was. If you subtract 2, like if you subtract 1 from this 2, you get what? You get 1. That's how I got my 1. So I've borrowed this 1 already. So if I want to subtract here, this 1 would have turned to 0. So the next thing I will do is to borrow another 1 here. If you borrow 1 here, it will turn to what? It will turn to 2. So after it has turned to 2, this 2, if I subtract 1 from this 2, I would get what? I would get this 1 as well. This very 1 also has turned to what? It has turned to 0. So the next thing I will do now is what? Is to borrow from this 1. So if I should borrow from this 1, that means this 1 will cancel, and the 1 getting here would turn to what? Would turn to 2. So this 2, that will be what? 2. If I will subtract 1 from this very 2, it will give me what? It will give me 1. So the answer for this very question is what? 111 in base 2. So our answer is E. Is it? Question number 14. Find the smallest number by which 60 must be multiplied to be a perfect square. For you to understand what the perfect square means, when you're talking about 16, 16 is a perfect square because what? If you look for the square root of 16, you get what? 4 times 4, right? It is 4 times 4, that's 4. 4 raised to power 2 will give you what? 16. That's a perfect square. If you are looking for okay, 64 also is a perfect square because what? If you look for the square root, you get what? You get 8. So that means 8 times 8 will give you what? 64. So just note that. Now we are trying to also look for the perfect square that what 60 can form if you multiply it with any number. So you will look for the next thing you need to do here is for you to what is to draw a square root. That's what I did here. And after that, I dropped 60 inside that square root. So after I've dropped 60 inside that square root, I was now looking for what? I continue to look for what? For the number in this very place that would give me a perfect square. I multiplied it by 2, I didn't get the perfect square. I multiplied it by 3, I didn't get the perfect square. I multiplied it by 5, I didn't get the perfect square. I multiplied it by 10, I didn't get the perfect square. But when I multiplied it by 15, I got a perfect square. That's telling me that what? 60 times 15 is what? Is the smallest the smallest number that I can multiply with 60 to give me a perfect square in this very answer. So I just chose what? E as the answer. Before I solve the last question, please, if you've not subscribed, click the subscribe button and also click the notification bell because I have 60 questions to solve in this very 2018. I've not solved it at all. It's only 1 to 15 that I will solve in this video. So for other questions like that, just subscribe. You would see when I would upload the video and you'll be able to watch it even in this lockdown. And don't also forget to share this video with your loved ones, those people that you know that will need it, so that they will also benefit greatly from this very channel. I wish you the best. 0.12 times 0.12 times 0.04 over 0.0024. If you want to do this, if you multiply it, you will get what? 0.0048 over 0.0024. So after doing that, you divide it, you see that what you will get 2. So the main thing now here is what? Is for like how would you know that we are talking about standard form in this very place, and I told you the other time that standard form, when we're talking about standard form, it has 2 parts. The first part would range from 0 to 9, while the second part would range from would be a power of 10. So it will be 10 raised to power something. So now if you want to make this a standard form, that's what we've already gotten 2. 2 is within 0 to 9. Abi? So the next thing now we are going to do is to do what? Is to look for the power of 10. And you know that if you use 10 raised to power 1, it won't give you 1. It will give you 10. How would you know how to do it now? It is what? I told you the other time that what? If you raise anything to power of 0, it will give you 1. Anything in this world, even if it is 1 million raised to power 0 would give you 1. So that's how I got this 0. Just try. You can try with any calculator in this world. 1 million, 1 trillion would give you what? Would give you 1. 1 trillion raised to power 0 would give you what? Would give you 1. I don't want to know how big it is. So that's what 10 raised to power 10 raised to power 10 times 10 raised to power 0. So our answer here is what? Is D. Do you fall asleep while reading? Click and watch the video you can see on the screen right now. It will help you to read without falling asleep. Please, if you've not subscribed, click the subscribe button and also click the notification bell. Invite your friends so that they will also benefit from this channel. And don't also forget to like this video. It will encourage us to do more. On this positive note, I end this video.